Okay, today is the 1st of September 2010 and this is the 43rd time we're speaking on the Majjhima Nikaya Suttas. Now we come to Sutta 105, Sunakkhatta Sutta, to Sunakkhatta. Thus have I heard. On one occasion the Blessed One was living at Vesali in the great wood, in the hall with the peaked roof. On that occasion, a number of monks had declared final knowledge in the presence of the Blessed One thus: we understand, birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived, what had to be done has been done, there is no more coming to any state of being. Sunakkhatta, son of the Lichavis, heard. A number of monks, it seems, have declared final knowledge in the presence of the Blessed One thus: we understand, birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived, etc. There is no more coming to any state of being. Then Sunakkhatta, son of the Lichavis, went to the Blessed One, and after paying homage to him, he sat down at one side and said to the Blessed One, I have heard, Venerable Sir, that a number of monks have declared final knowledge in the presence of the Blessed One. Did they do so rightly, or are there some monks here who declare final knowledge because they overestimate themselves? When those monks, Sunakkhatta, declared final knowledge in my presence, there were some monks who declared final knowledge rightly, and there were some who declared final knowledge because they overestimated themselves. Therein, when monks declare final knowledge rightly, their declaration is true. But when monks declare final knowledge because they overestimate themselves, the Tathagata thinks, let me teach them the Dhamma. Thus it is in this case, Sunakkhatta, that the Tathagata thinks, let me teach them the Dhamma. But some misguided men here formulate a question, come to the Tathagata and ask it. In that case, Sunakkhatta, though the Tathagata has taught, let me teach them the Dhamma, he changes his mind. Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha says, some monks, when they say that they have become liberated, some are actually liberated, but some are not. Of those that are not liberated, the Buddha thinks of teaching them further. But some of them, they are not humble enough, and they come to ask the Buddha a question, probably to debate with the Buddha one, or to test the Buddha one. So the Buddha changes his mind about teaching them the Dhamma. And Sunakkhatta said, this is the time, Blessed One, this is the time, Sublime One, for the Blessed One to teach the Dhamma. Having heard it from the Blessed One, the monks will remember it. Then listen, Sunakkhatta, and attend closely to what I shall say. Yes, Venerable Sir, Sunakkhatta, son of the Lichavis, replied to the Blessed One. The Blessed One said, there are, Sunakkhatta, these 5 chords of sensual pleasure. What are the 5? Forms cognizable by the eye that are wished for, desired, agreeable and likable, connected with sensual desire and provocative of lust. Sounds cognizable by the ear, odors cognizable by the nose, flavors cognizable by the tongue, tangibles cognizable by the body that are wished for, desired, agreeable and likable, connected with sensual desire and provocative of lust. These are the 5 chords of sensual pleasure. It is possible, Sunakkhatta, that some person here may be intent on worldly material things. When a person is intent on worldly material things, only talk concerning that interests him, and his thinking and pondering are in line with that. And he associates with that kind of person, and he finds satisfaction through him. But when talk about the imperturbable is going on, he will not listen to it, or give it ear, or exert his mind to understand it. He does not associate with that kind of person, and he does not find satisfaction through him. Suppose, Sunakkhatta, a man had left his own village or town a long time ago, and he were to see another man who had only recently left that town or village. He would ask that man whether the people of that village or town were safe, prosperous and healthy, and that man would tell him whether the people of that village or town were safe, prosperous and healthy. What do you think, Sunakkhatta? Would that first man listen to him, give him ear, and exert his mind to understand. Yes, Venerable Sir. So too, Sunakkhatta, it is possible that some person here may be intent on worldly material things. When a person is intent on worldly material things, he does not find satisfaction through him. He should be understood as a person who is intent on worldly material things. Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha is saying that worldly people will only want to talk about worldly things. I want to find other worldly people to talk to. But when you talk to them about states of meditation that are deep and all that, imperturbable, they are not interested. It is possible, Sunakkhatta, that some person here may be intent on the imperturbable. When a person is intent on the imperturbable, only talk concerning that interests him, and his thinking and pondering are in line with that, and he associates with that kind of person, and he finds satisfaction through him. But when talk about worldly material things is going on, he will not listen to it, or give it ear, or exert his mind to understand it. He does not associate with that kind of person, and he does not find satisfaction through him. Just as a yellow leaf that has fallen from its stalk is incapable of becoming green again, so too, Sunakkhatta, when a person is intent on the imperturbable, he has shed the fetter of worldly material things. He should be understood as a person not bound by the fetter of worldly material things, who is intent on the imperturbable. It is possible, Sunakkhatta, that some person here may be intent on the base of nothingness. When a person is intent on the base of nothingness, only talk concerning that interests him, and his thinking and pondering are in line with that, and he associates with that kind of person, and he finds satisfaction through him. But when talk about the imperturbable is going on, he will not listen to it, or give it ear, or exert his mind to understand it. He does not associate with that kind of person, and he does not find satisfaction through him. Just as a thick stone that has split in two cannot be joined together again, so too, Sunakkhatta, when a person is intent on the base of nothingness, his fetter of the imperturbable has been split. He should be understood as a person not bound by the fetter of the imperturbable, who is intent on the base of nothingness. Stop here for a moment. Normally when we talk on the imperturbable, we mean the fourth jhana and the arupas or arupa jhanas. But here you can see this imperturbable here refers to the fourth jhana, the base of boundless space and the base of boundless consciousness. So the Buddha separates the base of nothingness and later the base of neither perception or non-separation or non-perception from the former. So in this sutta, the imperturbable refers to the fourth jhana, the fourth rupa jhana, the base of boundless space and the base of boundless consciousness. So when we compare to the earlier section, if a person has attained to the fourth jhana, then he is no more interested in the worldly material things. So here section 10 talks about the person intent on the imperturbable, one who has attained the fourth jhana or the base of boundless space or boundless consciousness, is no more interested in the worldly material things, because the bliss of the fourth jhana is so, so high that he derives so much happiness and pleasure in the fourth jhana that worldly material things is nothing compared to this bliss of the fourth jhana. So he's no more interested. So you can see from here, and that's why when you compare it with some other sutta, there's Majjhima Nikaya 14, where Mahanama came to ask the Buddha. He said, Bhagava, although he understands the Dhamma, he says, in spite of having understood the Dhamma, he says sometimes this greed, hatred and delusion still overcomes him. And then he asked the Buddha whether he has not developed something, he has not attained something. And the Buddha said yes. The Buddha says he has not attained the piti and sukha that is secluded from sensual pleasures and secluded from unwholesome states. That means he has not attained one-pointedness of mind, jhana. So what the Buddha means is that if a person has attained jhana, the bliss is so high, is no more interested in worldly material things. And here, especially the fourth jhana, the imperturbable, is so, the bliss is so much higher than worldly pleasures or sensual pleasures, that if a person has attained the fourth jhana, is utterly no more interested in worldly material things. And then after that, on section 12, the Buddha says, if a person has attained the base of nothingness, is even higher, then he's also no more interested in the imperturbable. It is possible, Sunakkhatta, that some person here may be intent on the base of neither perception nor non-perception. When a person is intent on the base of neither perception nor non-perception, only talk concerning that interests him, and his thinking and pondering are in line with that. And he associates with that kind of person, and he finds satisfaction through him. But when talk about the base of nothingness is going on, he will not listen to it, or give it ear, or exert his mind to understand it. He does not associate with that kind of person, and he does not find satisfaction through him. Suppose a person has eaten some delicious food and thrown it up. What do you think, Sunakkhatta? Could that man have any desire to eat that food again? No, Venerable Sir. Why is that? Because that food is considered repulsive. So too, Sunakkhatta, when a person is intent on the base of neither perception nor non-perception, his fetter of the base of nothingness has been rejected. He should be understood as a person not bound by the fetter of the base of nothingness, who is intent on the base of neither perception nor non-perception. It is possible, Sunakkhatta, that some person here may be completely intent on Nibbana. When a person is completely intent on Nibbana, only talk concerning that interests him, and his thinking and pondering are in line with that. And he associates with that kind of person, and he finds satisfaction through him. But when talk about the base of neither perception nor non-perception is going on, he will not listen to it, or give it ear, or exert his mind to understand it. He does not associate with that kind of person, and he does not find satisfaction through him. Just as a palm tree with its top cut off is incapable of growing again, so too, Sunakkhatta, when a person is completely intent on Nibbana, his factor of the base of neither perception nor non-perception has been cut off at the root, made like a palm stump, done away with, so that it is no longer subject to future arising. It should be understood as a person not bound by the factor of the base of neither perception nor non-perception, who is completely intent on Nibbana. Stop here for a moment. So here, if a person has attained the base of neither perception nor non-perception, at that point, the consciousness is wavering. It's almost like a flame going to die off. Sometimes he's percipient, sometimes he's not percipient. So that is a very high state. And when he has achieved that state, lower states he's no more interested. But then the final one, intent on Nibbana, probably refers to the cessation of perception and feeling. When a person attains the cessation of perception and feeling, consciousness also stops. And the Buddha says that is the highest bliss. Nibbana paramang sukhang. So this cessation of perception and feeling is that state where the sixth consciousness stops. And when the sixth consciousness stops, that the Buddha says that's the highest bliss. It's similar to the state of parinibbana. It is possible, Sunakkhatta, that some monk here might think that craving has been called an arrow by the recluse, that is the Buddha. The poisonous humor of ignorance is spread about by desire, lust and ill will. The arrow of craving has been removed from me. The poisonous humor of ignorance has been expelled. I am one who is completely intent on Nibbana. Because he falsely thinks of himself thus, he might pursue those things that are unsuitable for one completely intent on Nibbana. He might pursue the sight of unsuitable forms with the eye. He might pursue unsuitable sounds with the ear, unsuitable odors with the nose, unsuitable flavors with the tongue, unsuitable tangibles with the body, or unsuitable mind objects with the mind. When he pursues the sight of unsuitable forms with the eye, etc., lust invades his mind. With his mind invaded by lust, he would incur death or deadly suffering. Suppose Sunakkhatta, a man were wounded by an arrow, thickly smeared with poison, and his friends and companions, his kinsmen and relatives brought a surgeon. The surgeon would cut around the opening of the wound with a knife, and he would probe for the arrow with a probe. Then he would pull out the arrow and would expel the poisonous humor, leaving a trace of it behind. Knowing that a trace was left behind, he would say, "Good man, the arrow has been pulled out from you. The poisonous humor has been expelled with a trace left behind, but it is incapable of harming you. Eat only suitable food. Do not eat unsuitable food, or else the wound would suppurate. From time to time wash the wound, and from time to time anoint its opening, so that pus and blood do not cover the opening of the wound. Do not walk around in the wind and sun, or else dust and dirt may infect the opening of the wound. Take care of your wound, good man, and see to it that the wound heals." The man would think, "The arrow has been pulled out from me, the poisonous humor has been expelled with no trace left behind, and it is incapable of harming me." He would eat unsuitable food, and the wound would suppurate. He would not wash the wound from time to time, nor would he anoint its opening from time to time, and pus and blood would cover the opening of the wound. He would walk around in the wind and sun, and the dust and dirt would infect the opening of the wound. He would not take care of his wound, nor would he see to it that the wound heals. Then, both because he does what is unsuitable, and because the foul poisonous humor had been expelled with a trace left behind, the wound would swell, and with its swelling he would incur death or deadly suffering. So too, Sunakkhatta, it is possible that some monk here might think, craving has been called an arrow by the recluse. The poisonous humor of ignorance is spread about by desire, lust and ill will. That arrow of craving has been removed from me. The poisonous humor of ignorance has been expelled. I am completely intent upon Nibbana. Because he falsely thinks of himself thus, he might pursue those things that are unsuitable for one completely intent on Nibbana, etc. With his mind invaded by lust, he would incur death or deadly suffering. For it is death in the discipline of the noble one, Sunakkhatta, when one abandons the craving and reverts to the lower life. And it is deadly suffering when one commits some defiled offense. Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha says, sometimes a monk, he overestimates himself. He thinks he has no more craving. He has let go of everything. But he has not. Just like the wound, there is still some humor of this, what do you call it? Poisonous humor. Some poisonous liquid is still left there. So in the same way, when a monk overestimates himself, he thinks he has eliminated craving, but there's still some craving in him. So just as the wound may, the wound would suppurate, the wound would get worse. Pus and blood would form. So in the same way, if he's not careful, he doesn't watch his six sense doors, then he looks at unsuitable sights, hears unsuitable sounds, etc. And then he would be invaded by lust. Lust invades his mind. And then either he would disrobe or he would commit some heavy offense, break some major precept. So that is death or deadly suffering. So sometimes it's very easy for a monk to overestimate himself. Even when a person just goes forth, sometimes he thinks, he has let go already. He has only let go on the outside, but the inside is difficult to remove. The attachment inside, especially Right, a monk has just gone forth. The Buddha says this tie, the family tie, is extremely strong. This family tie is stronger than iron chains. Iron chains is nothing compared to this attachment, family attachment. So for a monk, the first few years it's very important that he completely cut off, sever this family ties. Otherwise, he is still chained by this attachment, family attachment. That's why when a person intends to go forth, it is good to go forth in a foreign country. Just like last time when I went forth in America, there's a lot of suffering, but because you're so far from home, there's just no chance to go back. Okay, it is possible, Sunakkhatta, that some monk here might think thus: craving has been called an arrow by the recluse. The poisonous humour of ignorance is spread about by desire, lust and ill will. That arrow of craving has been removed from me. The poisonous humour of ignorance has been expelled. I am one who is completely intent on Nibbana. Being one who really is completely intent on Nibbana, he would not pursue those things that are unsuitable for one, completely intent on Nibbana. He would not pursue the sight of unsuitable forms with the eye. He would not pursue unsuitable sounds with the ear, unsuitable odors with the nose, unsuitable flavors with the tongue, unsuitable tangibles with the body, or unsuitable mind objects with the mind. Because he does not pursue the sight of unsuitable forms, etc., lust does not invade his mind. Because his mind is not invaded by lust, he would not incur death or deadly suffering. Suppose, Sunakkhatta, a man were wounded by an arrow, thickly smeared with poison, and his friends and companions, kinsmen and relatives, brought the surgeon. The surgeon would cut around the opening of the wound with a knife. Then he would probe for the arrow with a probe. Then he would pull out the arrow and would expel the poisonous humour without leaving a trace of it behind. Knowing that no trace was left behind, he would say, "Good man, the arrow has been pulled out from you. The poisonous humour has been expelled with no trace left behind, and it is incapable of harming you. Eat only suitable food. Do not eat unsuitable food, or else the wound may suppurate. From time to time, wash the wound, and from time to time anoint its opening, so that pus and blood do not cover the opening of the wound. Do not walk around in the wind and sun, or else dust and dirt may infect the opening of the wound. Take care of your wound, good man, and see to it that the wound heals." The man would think, "The arrow has been pulled out from me, the poisonous humour has been expelled with no trace left behind, and it is incapable of harming me." He would eat only suitable food, and the wound would not suppurate. From time to time he would wash the wound, and from time to time he would anoint its opening, and pus and blood would not cover the opening of the wound. He would not walk around in the wind and sun, and dust and dirt would not infect the opening of the wound. He would take care of his wound, and would see to it that the wound heals. Then both because he does what is suitable, and because the foul poisonous humour has been expelled with no trace left behind, the wound would heal, and because it had healed and was covered with skin, he would not incur death or deadly suffering. So too, Sunakkhatta, it is possible that some monks here might think thus: craving has been called an arrow by the recluse. The poisonous humour of ignorance is spread about by desire, lust and ill will. That arrow of craving has been pulled out from me. The poisonous humour of ignorance has been expelled. I am one who is completely intent on Nibbana. Being one who really is completely intent on Nibbana, he would not pursue those things unsuitable for one completely intent on Nibbana, etc. And because his mind is not invaded by lust, he would not incur death or deadly suffering. So, here the Buddha gives the instance of a person who was finished his job. He has expelled completely ignorance and craving. But even then, he would not go and look at unsuitable forms. He would not hear unsuitable sounds, etc. also because he has no more interest. But then you see, before a person can be completely intent on Nibbana, he must pass through the various stages. He must attain the imperturbable first, the fourth jhana, the base of neither, at least the fourth jhana, and if possible, the base of boundless space and boundless consciousness. And there are some arahants who attain these arupas. There are some arahants who do not attain these arupas. But to have completed the work, a monk would need at least the fourth rupa jhana. In which case, he would not be interested anymore in worldly things, in sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. Sunakkhatta, I have given this simile in order to convey a meaning. This is the meaning here. Wound is a term for the 6 internal bases. That means the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, body, and mind. Poisonous humor is a term for ignorance. Arrow is a term for craving. Probe is a term for mindfulness or recollection. Knife is a term for noble wisdom. Surgeon is a term for the Tathagata, Arahant, Sammasambuddha. When Sunakkhatta, a monk, practices restraint in the 6 bases of contact, and having understood that attachment is the root of suffering, is without attachment, liberated by the destruction of attachment, it is not possible that he would direct his body or arouse his mind towards any object of attachment. Suppose, Sunakkhatta, there were a bronze cup of beverage possessing a good color, smell, and taste, but it was mixed with poison, and a man came who wanted to live, not to die, who wanted pleasure and recoiled from pain. What do you think, Sunakkhatta? Would that man drink that cup of beverage, knowing, if I drink this, I will incur death or deadly suffering? No, venerable sir. So too, when a monk practices restraint in the 6 bases of contact, and having understood that attachment is the root of suffering, is without attachment, liberated by the destruction of attachment, it is not possible that he would direct his body or arouse his mind towards any object of attachment. Suppose, Sunakkhatta, there were a deadly poisonous snake, and a man came who wanted to live, not to die, who wanted pleasure and recoil from pain. What do you think, Sunakkhatta? Would that man give that deadly poisonous snake his hand or his thumb, knowing, if I am bitten by him, I will incur death or deadly suffering? No, venerable sir. So too, when a monk practices restraint in the 6 bases of contact, and having understood that attachment is the root of suffering, is without attachment, liberated by the destruction of attachment, it is not possible that he would direct his body or arouse his mind towards any object of attachment. That is what the Blessed One said. Sunakkhatta, son of the Lichavis, was satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's words. It's the end of the sutta. So here you can see the Buddha is saying that any object of attachment is like a poisonous drink or a venomous snake. So the Buddha says that when a monk practices restraint in the 6 bases of contact, and having understood that attachment is the root of suffering, is without attachment and liberated, it is not possible that he would direct his body or arouse his mind towards any object of attachment. This contradicts the later teachings found in the Mahayana and this Tibetan school. In the Mahayana, like for example, Vimalakirti Sutra, where they say the Bodhisattva enjoys socializing and a worldly life, and yet he is supposed to be higher than the Arahant. And in the Tibetan teachings, they say that the enlightened person can still engage in this what they call tantric Buddhism, where the master can have sex with the disciple. This is completely contradictory to the early Dhamma found in the suttas. It's not possible that in the some other sutta it's mentioned that an arahant, it's not possible for an arahant to purposely kill, to steal, to engage in sexual intercourse, to lie or cheat people. It's not possible. And even do anything wrong because of greed, hatred, or delusion, or fear. So this sutta is very good because sometimes we overestimate ourselves if you are on the spiritual path. So whether we have finished the job or not, this sutta cautions us not to to be very cautious in the six sense basis, not to see unsuitable sights, not to hear unsuitable sounds, etc.